Ladies and gentlemen, we just got a small glimpse into version 42 and beyond on Epic's community quarter video on Friday. They talked a brief bit about wards, a brief bit on the new economy, and on the new card system. Some people have been, oh my dear Sylphin, what does this mean? What are you going to do? How's the math going to change? It's looking interesting. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an announcement video. I am Sylphin. Hopefully you guys enjoy the Paragon release video in the background here, because it really feels like version 42 is basically a brand new game. So in this video they talked briefly about wards. They acknowledged that they are too prevalent, too easy to access. It's creating degenerate gameplay. Now, what they're moving towards, they didn't say much about it, but they did say that they're moving towards more meaningful, impactful, and rare shadow wards. So, vision wards, usually they're pretty cheap in MOBAs, but they don't reveal stealth and you can kill them, etc. like that. But these shadow wards, more meaningful, impactful, and rare. I absolutely agree. I personally hope that they'll be the equivalent of like a 6 CP upgraded bonus, like a Blade of Agora, kind of a big item that you really have to sink into as a support or as somebody else that's like, I need this vision to help protect me, the split pushing, or my allies. So I think it should be that big. Honestly, I really do, because it's really valuable, that vision. So there's the wards. They're changing to more meaningful, impactful, and rare. Absolutely love this decision. Now, when they talked about the new card system, they said that internally, when they're playing on version 42 or whatever version they have right now, when they're playing on it, it doesn't feel like you want just power. Right now, kind of stats reign supreme. And in this new system, you kind of almost don't. You don't want just power or just health and armor if you're a tank. Like, there's these really cool passive and actives that really change it up. So itemization will be more about gameplay changing cards and not stats. This is things like, we kind of have a few right now, like Tainted Magic, things like that, or a Stinger Boost for Crunch, like these huge gameplay changing cards that really synergize with heroes or help them mitigate a huge weakness of their gameplay, for example. That is what it's going to be more of. Now, they also say that some of the underlying assumptions in the math that currently exist are fairly simple. Like, you can optimize burst via putting power on Twin Blast because gameplay allows him to do that easily. It's pretty easy. You just do it and it works. Like, you can assume that he can do his thing, and it works. In this new gameplay, though, in version 42, it's not, you can't do that so much. So in this new system, basically what this means is you're gonna have to really see if the gameplay style or the deck style or this gameplay style works on this hero in this way, and then see what stats best suit that gameplay. Instead of the other way around. It's not going to be stats based, it's going to be gameplay based. So if you want, like, there could be so many examples, I'm not even going to think of one. You're going to have to check if the gameplay works, and then what stats serve that gameplay, and kind of gameplay comes first. And I actually really agree about this, because, you know, it's kind of boring to just follow a stat optimizer. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to build it, but that eventually kind of degrades over time. Now, right now, stats reign supreme. The more power you have, the better you'll do, basically. In the new system, there'll be more of a trade-off of stats to get unique gameplay-changing cards, and that is more interesting, in my opinion, than simply optimizing stats. Now, they are changing Intellect, Corruption, and Fury. Intellect is becoming Knowledge. Corruption is becoming Death, and Fury is becoming Chaos. Intellect becoming Knowledge, at first I was like, oh, really? That's kind of a downgrade. But Intellect is actually really common in video games, so Knowledge, I actually kind of like that. Kind of like it. It's a bit different. Maybe it's a little bit, but I like it. I like that. Corruption turning into death. Death, that sounds so sick. Death, oh, that's pretty cool. And fury turning into chaos. Chaos, that's badass, man. The chaos, that sounds really cool. There are lore reasons and narrative reasons for this change. So I actually when you put it into that context, I actually really like it, because that means that the narrative, the story, the background of Agora, of Paragon, is solidifying and becoming its thing. So that's really good sign, and I really, really, really like to see that stuff. And now for the juicy stuff, guys. When we're talking about the economy, there are no more card points. Zip. No card points in version 42. It's just going to be currency. Money. Gold. Something. It's just going to be currency. I guess you can kind of consider CP to be currency, but it's not card points, it's currency. Instead of increments of 1 card point, it's going to be broken down into smaller increments. They don't really say what it is, they don't name it, they don't say exactly what the system is, but it's kind of being broken down into smaller increments or made into something entirely different. I think personally that they're taking the 1 CP and turning it into 1,000 of something. Currently, like, you get increments of, 50, 70, 100 when you last hit something, 120, 140, 170. You get increments, right, of CP, and it's in the, like, thousands. Like, you get 120 when you last hit, 100 when you last hit a melee minion, something like that. You get that CP. I think that they're changing it to just be this 1,000. This is going to be this currency. And somebody on Reddit really came up. I mean, it's a brilliant idea. It's called Amber. It's called the Amber Link. It would make complete sense if this new currency is called Amber, and you get increments of 10 or something, and all the way up to like thousands, right? Like we have. So I think it's going to turn into something like that. Now, there will be no economy cap. There's no maximum of 60 CP, or if 1 CP becomes 1,000 Amber, then there's no cap of 60,000 Amber. So, like, there's no cap. You can get more. You just keep on getting currency. That's it. There's no cap whatsoever. Why is this? Because the issue with a cap is that if one team gets to 60, the economy stagnates. They don't progress. They don't go on that. It just stagnates. They sit there, and then the enemy team just kind of comes up. They've lost their advantage, right? And it's just, there's nothing. It becomes useless. And the core element of a MOBA, the farming, the economy aspect, is just lost, right? So that's why they're getting rid of it. Now, they also said, though, that deck building will still be a thing. You're still going to be able to build decks. So if there's an unlimited economy, but finite cards in your deck, something has to give. There must be some card upgrade thing. There must be something in your deck that allows infinite empowerment. Okay? It has to be something that allows infinite empowerment if there's an infinite economy but only a finite amount of cards. My idea, and this is totally my idea, please understand, this is my idea. I have no insights into this whatsoever. I'm being honest. My idea is that there will be cards that will have passives, actives, etc. And to unlock these things, you need to not only pay X amount of Amber to get the card itself, but you'll also need to spend Amber to install a stat upgrade node onto the card. These nodes then will allow infinite, or at least a very, very large amount of upgrading to increase a particular stat that node is meant for, like a power node you put onto a card that costs a certain amount, and then you upgrade it indefinitely or kind of like a finite amount. Now, to illustrate this, you're going to see my expert paint skills right here. Okay, so I've come up with this card completely by myself. again, this is my own completely this is a Sylphin card. I've the patent pending, okay? Weeping Ether. Okay? Weeping Ether. And then you of course you have the art, and this card costs 850 amber, which if in like today's terms that's like almost 1 CP. There's an upgraded passive that once you have spent 8,000 amber on the card, you've upgraded enough so that entirely the card is worth 8,000 amber. This passive unlocks. It's kind of like a fully upgraded bonus, but it's not full. It's just once you reach a certain point, 8,000 amber, 20% of all ability damage is dealt as additional damage over 6 seconds. I don't know. I mean, these numbers are just, I have no idea what these numbers are. I'm just taking a wild stab, okay? Please rip the balance of this card in the comments, or not, because you're just wasting your time. Here, you would get 0.1 mana regen, a third of 1 CP that you're getting now, or you would get 1 ability pen, half of a CP's worth. I don't know, something like that. And then there'd be these upgrade nodes that you would need to fill with an upgrade node. It would cost 700 amber, which is just a little bit more than half a CP's worth of 1 CP's of ability pen, that then you could upgrade to get ability pen per 250 amber. Does that kind of make sense? So like I could, you would go back to base and you would click upgrade. You would click it 3 times to get 3 ability pen, or to get 1.5 ability pen and spend 750 amber, something like that. You would upgrade it. That's my idea. Or these wouldn't be nodes at all, but each card would be its own sink that you would just take. But then you'd have finite cards. No, that doesn't work either. I'm trying to come up with ideas, but it's just not working. So that's my idea. How do you have an infinite economy but with a finite deck? This is what I come up with. Now, also up here in the top, you can see that they did mention that each of these affinities will be able to do something special. The best way I could come up with it is kind of like a trait. Each affinity has a trait, and for death or corruption, you gain 2 power for every 1 ability pen. I don't know. Something like, so can you imagine like a countess that builds 30 ability pen to do true damage? Well, she also gains power out of that. Something, I don't know, just a random idea. They did say that affinities get something special. Affinities get a unique thing that interacts with the card system and itemization. So, or not, I don't even know. So there you guys go. What do you guys think of this? I've tried to rack my brain around it. They finally released this information. I'm not really sure. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of what version 42 is going to look like. What's the economy going to look like? What do you think it's going to be called? The increments? I don't know. You let me know down in the comments, because I'd love to hear your brilliant ideas. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. If you guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. If you would like to support me and what I do on a regular basis, please consider going over to my Patreon account, where you can make a monthly pledge to support what I do and reap some pretty good rewards. Till next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive.